Britain's Starmer seeks to bolster China ties despite Trump warning. Iran president says Trump Netanyahu Europe stirred tensions in protests. Trump expects Iran to seek deal to avoid US strikes. Epstein offered ex-Prince Andrew meeting with Russian woman files. Venezuela opens up oil sector. What now? British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has defended his decision to engage with China, dismissing warnings from US President Donald Trump that such ties could be very dangerous. Starmer's visit is the first to China by a British Prime Minister in 8 years, and comes as several Western leaders seek to hedge against what they see as an increasingly unpredictable United States. Leaders from France, Canada, and Finland have also visited Beijing in recent weeks, amid tensions triggered by Trump's tariff threats against NATO allies and his comments about Greenland. Trump warned on Thursday that Britain's engagement with China was risky. Starmer responded by saying the UK had discussed the visit with US officials in advance, and noted that Trump himself is expected to visit China in the coming months. Speaking to British television, Starmer said it would be unwise for the UK to ignore China, describing it as the world's second-largest economy and an important global player. China's foreign ministry said Beijing is willing to strengthen cooperation with all countries on the basis of mutual benefit. During the visit, Starmer met Chinese President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang, with both sides stressing the importance of improving relations. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has accused the United States, Israel, and European leaders of exploiting Iran's economic problems to incite unrest during recent nationwide protests. Speaking on state television on Saturday, Pezeshkian said foreign powers had sought to provoke division and provide support that he claimed was intended to, quote, tear the nation apart. He said the protests were not merely social demonstrations, but part of a broader effort to destabilize Iran. The protests began in late December, amid a severe economic crisis marked by high inflation and rising living costs. They subsided after a violent crackdown by Iranian authorities. The US-based group Human Rights Activists News Agency said at least 563 people were killed, including more than 100 protesters. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi gave a lower figure, saying about 100 people died, including around 2,000 security personnel. Pezeshkian said US President Donald Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and European leaders had taken advantage of Iran's internal difficulties to fuel unrest and fragment society. Trump has repeatedly voiced support for the protesters and warned that the United States could take action if killings continued. US officials say Trump is reviewing options but has not decided on military action. Israeli media have reported increased US naval activity in the region. US President Donald Trump said on Friday that he believes Iran would choose to negotiate a deal with the United States rather than face potential American military action. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said he has set a deadline for Iran to enter talks on its nuclear and missile programs, but declined to reveal the specific timeframe. "I can say this, they do want to make a deal," he said without providing further details. Trump also reiterated that a large US naval force, which he described as an armada, is heading toward Iranian waters. He said he hopes the deployment will not be needed for military action, and expressed hope for diplomacy. The president cited what he said was Iran's decision to halt executions of protesters as a possible sign Tehran might be willing to engage in negotiations. Iran rejects negotiating under threat. Iran has consistently signaled resistance to talks under pressure. Its foreign minister has said Tehran is ready for fair negotiations but only on equal footing, and that its defensive and missile capabilities are not negotiable. Previous statements from Iranian officials also made clear that Iran has not requested negotiations with the United States and opposes talks conducted under coercive conditions. Newly released U.S. Justice Department documents show that late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein proposed introducing a Russian woman to Britain's Prince Andrew, the brother of King Charles III. The exchange appears in emails from August 2010 included among millions of pages made public on Friday. In one message, Epstein wrote to Prince Andrew, referring to him as the Duke, and suggested he meet a woman described as 26 years old, Russian, clever and beautiful, who would be visiting London later that month. According to the documents, Prince Andrew asked what Epstein had told the woman about him and whether she was carrying any message. In a later email, Andrew said he would be traveling but would be delighted to see her. The records also include a later discussion about a possible dinner at Buckingham Palace. However, there is no indication in the documents that any meeting between Prince Andrew and the woman actually took place. Venezuela's National Assembly has approved a major reform of the country's hydrocarbons law, effectively ending more than 2 decades of strict state control over its oil industry, and allowing private and foreign firms greater access to production and sales, lawmakers and analysts say. The reform was signed into law on Thursday by acting President Delcy Rodriguez. The legislation reverses key provisions that required foreign companies to operate under joint ventures dominated by the state-owned oil company Petróleos de Venezuela (PDVSA), and had limited private participation since nationalization decades ago. Under the new framework, private firms can directly manage exploration and production, transfer assets and resolve disputes through international arbitration. Taxes, royalties and contract terms have also been made more flexible to attract investment. The overhaul comes amid efforts by the United States to re-engage with Venezuela's oil sector following years of sanctions. The U.S. Treasury Department has eased some restrictions on Venezuelan crude, permitting American companies to purchase, transport, store and refine Venezuelan oil, a move seen as encouraging foreign participation and boosting production. Venezuela holds the largest proven oil reserves in the world, but production has plunged due to underinvestment, mismanagement and sanctions. The reforms aim to reverse that decline by attracting capital and technical expertise to revitalize the sector.